So I think I have to apologise and say if you're watching this video in order, it probably won't make a lot of sense. We intend to do an introduction video to launch our product. All you need to know about at the moment is that it's called the MultiPlug, and it's a flow-based, event-driven system that allows you to extend it. So I'm just going to give a quick demonstration of how to set up a simple flow using the MultiPlug, and 1, 2, 3, 4 extensions that do different elements of functionality, but put them all together and they come up with a dashboard that displays when someone's moved, firstly using a sensor, PIR sensor, attached to a Brainbox, which is a I/O device. Every time the PIR sensor goes high or low, it triggers an event, 2 events, one for high, one for low. We're going to plumb those in to a timer. So when it goes high, timer starts. When it goes low, timer stops. Why is that? Why do we need a timer? We've got a vision extension. Vision attaches to a webcam. And when the timer matures, it's going to take a picture, take a frame of that webcam. This is a reoccurring timer, so every time it triggers, it's going to reset itself. And then we're going to do that every, let's say, 400 milliseconds. So once the event occurs, it's going to trigger vision to capture the webcam, and then we're going to use the Projector Extension. This extension has 2 functionality. One is to actually create dashboards, this dashboard will subscribe to this event of the vision capture, but also the projector has the ability to communicate with Chromecast. So indirectly, this will tell the Chromecast what dashboard to display. We will also change some text on the actual highs and lows of the Brainboxes. So these 2 events here will then also come down and subscribe to the Brainbox changes. The dashboard will change some text on each of those changes. So once you've installed the actual platform of MultiPlug and installed the extensions you need to enable them in the settings. So that's the first thing we're going to do. You go over to the settings bar to the left. Towards the middle, there's System Startup Extensions and a list of assemblies that you can then enable. These are all the extensions you have installed. So we're going to have the Brainboxes, we're going to have the IFTTT, we're going to have the Projector, and we're going to have Vision. Scroll to the bottom, press Save, and then the extensions will be loaded in the background. You will then find in the Extensions menu all the extensions that you have then enabled to the left. So the first extension we're going to set up is the Brainboxes extension. Go to the left and the Extensions menu, click Brainboxes. We can now add a device via its IP address. Click Save Changes. Then you'll see the device is then listed. Click Connect. You will then find the device has been connected, and you can be assured of this by looking at the trace log. But more of a telltale sign is the fact that under subscriptions you have 4 outputs and the device name at the top. Under events, you have all the events of the device. You'll find that each I/O has 2 events, one when on a falling edge and one on a raising edge, which means basically on and off. We're interested in the third I/O that has these event IDs. And this will be the point where if you wanted to have an output change, you can now subscribe to other events of the system to trigger that output to change on and off. The next extension we're going to configure is the IFTTT Extension menu, IFTTT. We're going to use this extension to trigger a timer. Every time the I/O goes high, i.e. someone's detection of movement has been triggered, we're going to trigger a reoccurring timer every 400 milliseconds, and that is going to trigger off the capture of the camera. So at the moment we have 3 components. There will be more in future. We're just going to use the timer. Click on the timers, click on new timer, and this is the new timer. You've got a start subscription and a stop subscription. Click the add button. You have a drop down. You have all the extensions loaded in the system, and we want the high event of the IO3, which is this one here. And then we want the timer to stop once the I/O has gone low, which is this one. So this timer is enabled. It has an event ID itself, so every time the timer matures itself, it will then create another event, which other things can subscribe to. We could give it a description, so in the system when we set it up, we can be more understanding of what this timer does. And we're just going to change the milliseconds to 400 and make sure it auto resets. So this will reoccur until this stop subscription is triggered. So save the changes, and then you'll find that that is now in the system to be subscribed to from other extensions. So the next extension I want to configure is the Vision extension. This extension allows you to connect to webcams and allows you to have take a frame from that webcam. So extensions, Vision, add device. Device index will be 0 because it's the only camera on this computer. Event ID can be anything you want it to be. And what we want to subscribe to get that captures to actually occur is the timer we just created before. So scroll down to the IFTTT and you'll find it's the only event on that extension. Save changes. Last but not least, we need to connect, set up the Projector Extension. Projector Extension has 2 functionalities. It allows you to create dashboards or any sort of web UI dynamically, in the sense that you can create it on the fly here. And the second thing it does is communicates and controls Chromecasts. So it can take that dashboard and tell the Chromecast to display that dashboard. The first thing you need to do is actually upload the markup of your dashboard. I'm going to cheat and copy and paste something I made earlier. You can then type in your dashboard name, call it Chromecast, and then you need to subscribe to events of the system. So we need to subscribe to the Vision event that we called webcam. We also want to subscribe to the actual IOs of highs and lows. So the dashboard is fairly simple. It's simply a picture of what the webcam has taken a picture of, and also it's some text to say if a movement has occurred or not. Doesn't really do a lot, but it gets you the idea of how to configure this extension. There are also events, so if your dashboard had a button on it, the button will cause an event or any sort of logic in your JavaScript. The actual markup is Razor, obviously with a mix of HTML, CSS, JavaScript, etc. So we just save changes to that. Back, we now have a dashboard called Chromecast. It has 3 subscriptions, no events, and we could have a look at that in a minute. We can now see that actually on our network we have one device, one Chromecast called iForecast. We can now tell it to project that dashboard, and we want to auto connect to it now. Save changes. And now if you go to your Chromecast, you go to that Chromecast, we'll see that that dashboard is being projected. So this TV has a Chromecast in the back of it. It has been signalled to by the MultiPlug to display this dashboard. As you see, the dashboard is pretty simple. Picture and some text at the bottom. So now if I go over to the sensor, you will see that I can now be seen. If I walk back away, drum roll, you will see that the sensor's read that there's no movement, which is pushed off an event to the dashboard. Text gets changed, and you can't tell from that, but the actual capture of the images have stopped because the timer stopped because the I/O went to low. So this is a Brainboxes device. This is available from RS. It has 4 I/O pins. One's being used to detect movement using a PIR sensor. The other I/O are connected to LEDs, and I've also in the MultiPlug subscribed to the changes of the PIR, but also then added outputs on I/O pin 0, so an LED will now light when the PIR is detecting movement. The PIR is currently under this book, which is why this book is in the way. So if I just move this, there's the PIR, and there's the LED that is switched on. So that was a really simple flow, just to show you how flexible and easy it is to map up different extensions and subscribe to the different extensions events. There are lots of industrial applications for understanding where humans are and movement sensors. If you know that a human hasn't been near a machine for a while, what's the point displaying that message? What's the point displaying that light? What's the point ringing that buzzer? We need, at that point, when we know where the humans are, we need to escalate the event. And using that simple flow, we could quite easily escalate it to a higher level, smarter system, whether it's a pager system or whether it's simply displaying the event or the alarm on dashboards that are closer to the human or the operator of the line. So I hope that's a quick understanding of how the MultiPlug works and how you map together events. This video is really created as just a milestone to show to people the concept of MultiPlug. If you need any further information, contact us via the website.